guys, this is Green Lion, and today I will be debating on which is the true Ghostbusters 3. I'm talking about between the Ghostbusters video game that came out in 2009 and was remastered for the PlayStation 4, as well as Ghostbusters Afterlife. I will not be talking about Answer the Call for two reasons. One, it automatically disqualified itself by taking place in a separate timeline. This was confirmed by the director, who wanted an all-new group to start their own company on their own world and create their own tech, as opposed to being the successors. And two, the movie's flat out terrible. It's not that funny, it's flat out insulting, and before I get called a bunch of things and accused of not actually seeing the movie, I did. Worst $10 I ever spent. So, without further ado, let's discuss my criteria for what could be Ghostbusters 3. First, it has got to have the tone. Second, you have to have the connections to the first two films.
Had to be some sort of psi energy pulse.
As well as,
a significant collective and centralized necromantic convulsion.
More importantly, it has to have a good story.
Agreed. We need EMF measurement checks now.
And a bonus feature would be...
I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Is a level 7 whatever bad or very bad?
I guess it would be addressing the death of Harold Ramis, but
let's just say we're about to get real busy.
When the video game was first released, obviously it did not have anything really to do a memory of, because he was still alive at the time and even at release. Now with the remaster, they did add an in memory of in the game, and I will touch on what Afterlife did as far as addressing Harold Ramis' death a little bit later. Tonally, the game does have the jokes, and you do have the chemistry. Now, obviously, it does have the same writers, Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, in it, and that's something that Afterlife did not have. However, tone, it does vary a bit. They do try to do a few jokes. It does not have quite as many. It is more of an action film. And, I have heard people compare it to Stranger Things. I didn't quite get that vibe, but... So, first point does go to the video game. The second criteria is continuation. Obviously, with the video game, you do have the same actors coming back to reprise the roles in the film. You do have their likenesses, be it CGI from 2009. And, you do have a lot of the same storylines. It obviously did have the same writer, so that did help. And automatically you do feel like you're in the Ghostbusters world.
Where to, Ray?
The Sedgwick Hotel.
The
It's the first place that little spud will go.
Right.
Well,
Back to its initial
Afterlife,
manifestation.
however, obviously it does have different
Check out
writers,
a real good
since
buffet.
Harold
It
Ramis
is a
unfortunately
great
passed away.
When Winston returns from
And,
the opera, extend an invitation to join
you
us
know,
at our table at the Sedgwick.
they
Hey,
chose to move
you're up,
the
buddy. Training will be on
setting
the
away
job.
from New
Try
York,
not to
which I can
destroy too many
understand.
Manhattan landmarks. That's our job.
And it did put them at a bit of a disadvantage. So they had to ground the Ghostbusters in to this world immediately. And how did they do that? They had an opening scene with Egon, and in the small town, in his dirt farm, and it he is in his Ghostbusters uniform, so you do get a good sense of what is to come. And, throughout the film, there are various hints of things that come from the first two movies. Now, they also did evolve the technology as well, which is something I did enjoy. And what they added, well, I think it is hit or miss. I do think the proton packs work. The traps work. I actually do like the RC car trap myself. And the only thing that really had me scratching my head was adding that gunner seat to the Ecto 1. I kind of feel like they should have just went ahead and made an Ecto 2. But that's just me. I really don't know who to give the point to on that one front, because they both do a good job, especially the Afterlife, because it takes place 30 years after the last movie. So I'm actually going to just give them both that point. Now the final part is being a good story. And this one was also very hard. But obviously you do have the original Ghostbusters in the video game as your main protagonists. And like I have said, that they actually do retread a lot of the same areas. You do fight a few of the same villains. I mean, they actually bring back the librarian from the first part of the film. Well, of the first movie. But I think where the video game succeeds is not only do they give you, a lot of the same locations, they also succeed in actually expanding upon that. And when I say expand upon that, I mean, yeah, you do revisit that library, but this time you're a Ghostbuster. And there's a lot more to that library. I will not spoil everything. But there are also some alternate worlds, which, we did get a little bit of a taste of in the movies. Well, in the first two films. I think that they just slightly hinted about it in Afterlife again. But, there are complete areas for us to explore in an alternate world. Actually, the final battle takes place in an alternate world. And it's not just a small area. Now, that being said, we also have some interesting stories and even some nice battles with the other Ghostbusters. Gotta love how they enter the room. And that walk cycle. Oh, and a think over shot. And overall, it does feel like it was definitely intended to be the final film. Well, maybe. Like, I do encourage you to play the game. It is fun. And, Afterlife, I think it does have some... Overall, it is a pretty good story. I actually did like most of the characters. And, you do see a lot of exploration, watching the characters grow, especially the kids. I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. And on top of that, they were very respectful to the previous Ghostbusters. And, I do not cry in a lot of movies. I did not expect to cry in this movie. In fact, unlike Kevin Smith, there's only a handful of films I can actually say I've cried watching. And at least two of them are Studio Ghibli films. So, I am giving the video game a point, and Actually, I'm going to give both of them a point on this one. Now, obviously, Harold Ramis did pass away, so he could not revise his role as Egon in Afterlife. But they did use some technology to age him up, and it was not cringy. I mean, obviously they did have another actor in his stead, but it almost looked like it was him, and that they were intending on like I said, they wanted to be respectful. They done it, and it really was a proper send-off for Harold Ramis as well as Egon, his character. I'm gonna end this by saying it really doesn't matter what you choose, though, because both of these, I consider both these projects a win for Ghostbusters fans. Because on one hand you have an interactive video game that continues the first two films with characters you know and love, versus, you have a movie which is in the same universe and has grounded itself in the same universe. And pays respect to the actors that made the franchise what it is.